Welcome to this first information session. It's part of a program that we've developed for our researchers from the Division for Research Development on our functions. Basically follows detailed instructions and information on the functions that we provide. This first session will be presented by Dr. Terina Tron, who's the Senior Director for Research and Innovation. And as an introduction to the program, we will give you more information on the Division for Research Development in particular, its structure and the functions. You will see from the program, which we will send to you, which was sent to you about a week and a half ago. You would have seen the whole schedule for the year. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get to my next slide now, and it doesn't want to go to the next slide, Whitney. I'm not sure what's happening, but in any case, we are going to advertise each session about 2 to 3 weeks before the time. You will find information via email, via our DRD communications channel, so please have a look out for that, and more details on each session will then be included in the email. And after this session, we will again send you the detailed program. If you've got any questions on the sessions in particular, you can send me an email, mh3@sun.ac.za. The contact information will also be included in the emails. But without further ado, Terina, I want to hand over to you to introduce the session for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Marijke. I hope everybody can hear me and see me. I'm sitting in Stellenbosch. It's noisy outside, and it's wonderful to hear the noise of the students on campus again. So it's a wonderful privilege for me to be able to speak to you this afternoon and just share a little bit of information also, and specifically aimed at people who don't yet know us as a division and who might be new to campus. Tanya, I see your hand is up. Did you want to ask or highlight something? Tanya Brodowski? Tanya?
Sorry, Terina, no.
Okay, is it an accidental hand?
Correct.
Okay. Right. But let me start off on that note and just please invite all of you to interrupt me, to ask questions. I really would have liked for this to be a conversation rather than a one-way channel. But there is quite a lot of information on my slides. And if you have any questions, pressing questions, you're welcome to alert me to it. Whitney, if you can just shout if there's a hand going up, because I won't be able to see it once I share my screen. The one thing that I want to say and convey to you today, and we've got quite a lot of people in the audience, is just that we as a division are accessible to you. We are all people, we're all approachable, and we love what we're doing. We love working with researchers, including all academic staff, postdocs and postgraduate students at this university. It's an incredible privilege to work at a truly research-intensive university. And what we are here for is to serve you to the best of our abilities. So please feel free to contact all of us, to contact me if you don't know exactly where the question should be posed, and I will refer you to the right person. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Let me just find those slides again. I hope that's the right one. Okay. Whitney, just quickly confirm to me, please, that you can see my screen in presentation mode now.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so it's all showing. You're not seeing double notes and stuff like that, only the slide.
Only the slides, yes.
Okay. All right, perfect. Yeah, as I said, it would have been lovely to sit with all of you in a venue rather and meet some of you, especially those of you who are new to the institution. But of course, the accessibility of this technology is also making it very convenient to do it this way. As a division, we are currently still, we're back in the office to a large extent because we have very densely populated open plan offices. We do fluctuate a bit between working from home and working in the office. As I said, I'm in my office today, very happy to be here. But what you should know is that we offer you the same service, whether we are still working from home some days or not. We are capable of doing our jobs 100% from home. And we will be in the office as well to see some of you with preferably a booking system at this particular point in time, because it's a bit complicated still to take walk-in clients. But if you want to see us, we can see you. So I will basically try to speak about 3 different parts in this presentation. As a first part, I will try to give you some of the backdrop to what we do, and that is share some of the university's approach to research and the vision and the mission and the goals, and then also say a little bit more about the research strategy of the university. Then I will tell you about my team and introduce you to my team, and at least introduce you to the management team. But you will be able to see also our organogram and the different functions that we look after in the team. And then lastly, I will share some general tips, particularly for people who are new, might be new to the university, resources that you can access via our website and by contacting us. So let me kick off. Okay, so let me start at the top, right at the top. Stellenbosch University's vision for 2040 unequivocally states that we want to be Africa, or we will be rather, Africa's leading research-intensive university. That's a huge ambition, because you will know that Stellenbosch University stands alongside some pretty other strong research universities in the country and also on the continent. But we want to be the leading research-intensive university, and everything that we do in terms of promoting and advancing our research and our research portfolio is aimed at that. We want to be globally recognized as excellent, inclusive, and innovative, where we advance knowledge in the service of society. So, of course, what we do is not only research for the sake of research, but it's research to make the world a better place. And all of this information is, of course, available on the SUN, www.sun.ac.za website, where you can see the university's vision and mission in detail. The core strategic themes, there are 6 of them for the broader university, including all the university's core business. And of course, a lot of what we do also slots in with network, collaborative teaching and learning. It slots in with the transformative student experience, at least where postgraduate students are involved, purposeful partnerships and inclusive networks, and certainly also a thriving Stellenbosch University and employer of choice. But our main focus, of course, in this division is research for impact. So I'll only focus on that one for now. So under the strategic goal, research for impact, we say that we want to develop a research agenda derived from SU's values, from societal needs and the sustainability imperative. We want to conduct research of significance based on selected, focused strategic research areas, and I'll say a bit more about that now. We want to inform the future research agenda, so not only follow the stream, but also set the agenda in a way, in some areas of particular expertise that we have at the university. And we want to, of course, we have to strategically involve our stakeholders. We can't do this alone. We will always do it in partnership with other entities. We want to conduct collaborative and interdisciplinary research that addresses the grand challenges of society, and my next few slides will also focus on that a little bit. And then, of course, we want to create an embedded culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in our research. So again, doing basic and fundamental and applied research, but all along focusing on the change that research and the improvement that research will eventually bring in society. So a number of years ago, we were asked by the Rectorate to devise a research strategy that would allow the university to develop some really interdisciplinary and cross-faculty initiatives. We had long sessions in a task team, because these things are never easy. to talk through, and there's always some sensitivity to it in that people want to feel included in the research strategy of the university. So no university of this size and shape and as comprehensive an institution can ever go and say, we will only work in the following 5 narrow disciplinary areas. We have to take into account that we have 10 faculties, now 2 schools in addition to that, and that we have a very, very comprehensive research community, all of whom have the capability and have is keen actually to make a difference in society. So by devising our research strategy, and specifically these 5 strategic research areas or SRAs, we wanted to make clear that we want to include everybody under these what we call umbrella areas. So the 5 areas that you see in front of you: the natural environment, health and human security, social justice and development, human creativity and social innovation, systems and technologies for the future, are really devised to put umbrellas over groups of research entities and individual researchers who work in these very, very broad areas. The one thing that we also wanted to make very clear in our strategy is that all of these more applied areas are grounded in fundamental basic research. And Stellenbosch University, one of its strengths is actually its particular expertise that is built up over many decades in areas such as chemistry, theoretical physics, philosophy, many, many areas that are fundamental and basic research areas. And we wanted to make it clear that these are equally important for the development of future impact and future society, but that we want to create through these umbrella areas and through our approach, we want to create opportunities for people to be able to really work together across disciplinary boundaries. So the analogy that we used for our research landscape is that of a cityscape in which we have huge high rises that would typically be your huge large collaborative initiatives, such as the School for Data Science and Computational Thinking that was recently established, the School for Climate Studies that was established last year, centers of excellence, new institutes, your typical big initiative where people would work together across disciplinary boundaries. And we do believe that under each of these umbrellas, we need to have a few of these high rises. At the same time, the strength of the city really lies in its diversity. So we are placing equal value on smaller collaborative initiatives and indeed on individual buildings in our city. That might be individual researchers that work in a fairly narrow field and make global impact in that field. So our cityscape is not an exclusive one, but it's an inclusive one where every researcher should feel that they have a role to play, whether they work on their own or whether they work in a high-rise building. The other thing that came about in all of these discussions was a very specific request from our research community that we should also create some public spaces or play parks in the city. So that's part of our strategy. What we want to create are opportunities for people to get together across disciplinary boundaries and speak to each other and get to know each other in these play parks or public spaces, where they can potentially then decide to work together to build a new high-rise, depending on societal needs into the future. So the play parks and the public spaces and the roads that connect those are equally important in our cityscape. So that's just an analogy that we use. We are still very much in the process of developing this strategy. We have now the 2 schools, the one for data science and the other one for climate studies, which really represent some of the high rises in our city. But we want to continue to feed the diversity of the city and to support as best we can also the smaller and the individual buildings, but giving that opportunity for interaction and to build collaborative initiatives where possible. So in our division, we're the Division for Research Development. We are broadly responsible for the advancement, facilitation and support of research at Stellenbosch University. Our main aim is to create an enabling environment. Now, many of you who had to deal with issues around intellectual property or contracts or ethics may think that it's not always such an enabling environment. But we're sitting in this interesting place where we will always try to help the individual researcher as much as we can. And this is really what we are here for. But on the other hand, we are also here to protect the university and its research enterprise as a whole. And those things can sometimes stand a bit in tension with each other, because the individual researcher often really only think about their own research and their own research program. Whereas from our side, we have to ensure that everything is done the right way to protect the reputation of the university, to protect its enterprise. And of course, this is a mutually beneficial relationship. It can't only be looking after the individuals. We have to look at the whole, because the two actually feed into each other. Of course, the university can't do research without you as individuals, but you also can't do your research without the university as a healthy ecosystem in which that can take place. So our division support academic staff that's appointed, that's part of our staff cohort at the university, as well as postdoctoral fellows, as well as postgraduate students. So those are our clients. And I always say to my division, we need to think of ourselves as an entity like a bank, for example, that sits in a main street where people can have the option to go to other banks if they don't get good service from us. I know it's not the reality, because you only have one division for research development, but the way that we want to serve our client base is certainly as if you had a choice, and if we have to give you the very best service so that you will come back to us. So we're a centralized support function, but I will also share with you in one of my next slides how closely we work with many other entities at the university in order to support you and the university. The one thing I want you to know, and if that's the only takeaway message that you take away from today's session, that would be already worth it for me, is that we all bat for the same team. So we are passionate about supporting you and your research, because we believe that as a team, we also make a difference in the world by doing our jobs and doing it well. But of course, we have the responsibility to sometimes put what people see as hurdles in the place or in your path to ensure that we also protect the university as a whole. So just in a bit more detail, we are responsible for research funding at the university. All research grants eventually would come through us in some or other form, both at institutional level, where we have a little pot of money available for particular areas, and specifically through the subcommittees of the research committee, institutional funding, and some other categories. We deal with national funding in that we are the liaison office for the National Research Foundation and a bunch of other national funders. And also we deal with international research grants, typically the EU grants, European Union grants, and other, where we provide support right from the pre-award stage all the way through to the post-award stage. But as I will show you in my next slide, we also link up with many other entities in the university whilst doing this. We're also responsible for research and research-related contracts. So any contract that you have for funding, or a contract, just an agreement, for example, of any sorts with external stakeholders that are research or research-related contracts, that will be dealt with by our division. We also deal with all issues around research, integrity, and ethics. In that sense, we work very closely with the Postdoc Office, responsible for the health research ethics. And I'll show you in our organogram a bit more detail about that. We also, as we do today, we work with research capacity development, where we have a number of workshops, information sessions, and also we deal with a early career academic development program, ECAD program, which is funded through the DHET's University Capacity Development grant to the university. As I said, we also offer a service for all postdoctoral fellows and fellowships, in that we have to basically manage a kind of a HR department for postdoctoral fellows, because of course in the South African system our postdocs are not taxed and they're not allowed to be on the payroll. So we had to create an entity that can serve them. Postgraduate students and bursaries are dealt with by us through our Postgraduate Office and the Postgraduate Funding Office. And then we have a whole lot of research information, research-related information and data that we have to look after and collect. And that includes the publication audit. So every year we have to count the publications of the university and make sure that they comply with the requirements of the Department of Higher Education and Training for subsidy, which forms a large part of the income of the university. And we are responsible to provide to our rectorate and to other stakeholders institutional statistics on research, grant income, all kinds of institutional statistics. And we also have to ensure that our research is as visible as possible. And we do that through the publication of various reports, including research at Stellenbosch University, of which I'll show you a few images later on. But we also ensure that people are nominated for prestigious awards, prizes, and so forth. And then we are responsible for the formulation and the implementation and the curatorship of a number of research-related university policies. And we provide support to the research-related Senate committees. So that's a whole mouthful, but I think you will get a better idea when I show you our organogram of how we structure ourselves to look after all of those areas. Just to point out, and this is very important, that we as a division work in partnership all the time. We have so many processes where we have to link up with processes in other support divisions as well as in the academic faculty. So one of our main purposes really is to work extremely closely with the 10 academic faculties, now also with the 2 schools. I should update my slide, to ensure that we serve the academic community as best we can, to know what your needs are and to be able to cater to those needs. At the same time, we are closely linked to a number of other support divisions or PAS divisions, professional and administrative support divisions. In the faculties, of course, you've got your own faculty-based support systems. In the health sciences faculty is probably the most prominent one, where they also have an office specifically focusing on research, development and support. So we work very closely with them. We work closely with the international office, the registrar's office, learning and teaching, institutional research and planning, development and alumni, finance, IT. We closely linked with all of those, where in many cases we have to hand over a baton, like with Innovus, when it comes to commercialization, for example, we hand over to them and they will carry it further. So we link up very closely with all of these other divisions. What we try to do, though, is when it comes to contracts, for example, we try to be a one-stop shop where you don't have to run from one entity to another, but that we serve that purpose of coordinating the whole process. And we try to do that as much as we can. Just a little bit more about us as a division. We also have our own key objectives and core values that we strive towards. I think one of the most important tasks that we have is to know the external research funding landscape and the external research agenda and the government policies and the international policies and opportunities that exist and challenges that exist, and then to link those up to the internal research landscape, which we also have to know pretty well. So it's really to bring opportunities from the external landscape into the university and to make you aware of those opportunities so that you can utilize them to build out your research portfolio and to apply for funding, to set your own agenda to fit in with other policies, external, national, international, in order to get the necessary resources. So we want to be proactive and strategic in the development of research capacity and resources, and those are, of course, our research community, the human beings that we need, the people that we need to do research. We want to support you as far as we can, and we also want to play a role in building out not only funding resources, but also funding for equipment or equipment where we can, and facilities that you need for your research. We want to promote, as I said, this is the vision of the university, want to promote Stellenbosch University as a leading research-intensive university. Our core values within the division is that we fulfill a strategic role. We don't sit back and wait for people to come to us. We really want to be proactive as well. That's also one of our values. We want to be innovative. We have to, in a very fast-changing landscape outside of the university, act fast to bring you all of those opportunities, and also act fast to support you to access those opportunities. So we really want to be strategic, innovative, and proactive in what we do. We don't only sit and wait for funding opportunities to be sent to us, but we also proactively go and look for opportunities out there that we can alert you to. Very, very important for us as a team is that we want to be a supportive team. We want to be approachable. We want you to get to know us as people, so that you have the confidence to contact us and to speak to us, even if there's a problem, because we are all humans and we're sometimes going to make mistakes. And we want to support you also in finding solutions for where things sometimes may go wrong. We want to be service and client orientated. As I said, about being a shop or a bank in the main street, we want to really do our jobs in a way that you would be a returning client, even if you had a choice. So that's our attitude, and these are our values that we strive towards as a division. So this is our organogram. I know there's a whole lot of information on this, but we will share these slides with you. So in the division, we've got my office, and I have two people supporting me, Essie and Roger, who are helping us with managing everything for everybody in the division. And then we have different groups in the division. Now, those of you who knows the division, have known the division for a number of years, will see some changes here, in that we had a small change in our structure just to streamline things a little bit with the retirement last year of Rihanna Kutsie, which many of you will know. When Rihanna retired, we used the opportunity to consolidate our research grants under Marlene Forshee. So Marlene and her group and her team now deals with institutional as well as national as well as international grants. And they provide the support for that, for applications. They will deal with the pre-award process mainly, but in some cases, especially with national funders, also with the post-award process. Lizelle and Dominique, of course, will continue to focus largely on the large international grants and the NRF bilaterals, whereas Shannon and Vanita and Elise will focus on NRF funding. But we are still, and there's a new position for which we will have advertised now, and we will still shuffle things around a bit there. But Marlene has now taken on the enormous responsibility for research grants. Marlene, I don't know if you can maybe just quickly switch on your camera. Not sure if I'll be able to see you, but
I'm switched on. So
okay, great. Okay,
I'm nodding as you speak.
So that's Marlene. That's Marlene, and her team's names are there. I've also included on this slide some addresses. So Marlene's address is there, and then also a general address that they use for research grants, which is research@sun.ac.za. So please feel free to contact Marlene and her team with your funding needs, or about any existing national and international and institutional grants, and any questions. Then the next in the range of separate groups that we have is Nicola. Nicola, I'm not sure whether you are here or you can switch on your camera, but Nicola deals with research integrity and ethics. So that was also a small change in our organogram, in that we shifted our ethics coordinators for all the research ethics committees that we deal with on main campus to Nicola's management, under Nicola's management. And so she will now, Clarissa and Winston and Aidan, who you know well if you've worked with ethics, will report directly to Nicola. And Nicola will continue to deal with issues related to research ethics in the broader sense. So the investigations that we sometimes have to undertake for any allegations of people who did not adhere to the principles of research integrity, that will be managed by Nicola. And for those investigations, if it requires some serious investigations, we will bring on an ad hoc basis, we will bring in some research integrity officers, mostly retired and very knowledgeable professors that we've used in the past that will come in to assist Nicola in those investigations. The email addresses that you see there, again, is Nicola's, and then Apply Ethics, which is the general email address that you can use for any ethics-related queries. The Integrity@Sun, which is used for any cases or any instances of reporting research integrity issues. And then the Health Research Ethics Committee address, Ethics@Sun. And I should add here that we work very, very closely with the Health Research Ethics Office at the medical faculty at Tygerberg in everything that we do related to research integrity and ethics. Then thirdly, it's Marijke Hunter-Husselman. You've seen Marijke, but Marijke, you can maybe just switch on again so that people know who you are, those of you who don't know you. Marijke deals with a range of issues related to research information and strategic initiatives in the division. Dalian and Felicia, you will know if you had to report your research publication outputs. They do the full audit and handle the full audit of publication outputs annually and the reporting to the DHET. And now it also includes creative outputs and innovation outputs. So they would capture all of those and make sure that they are audited and reported to the DHET. Asima deals with NRF ratings. So NRF ratings is an important part of us sharing research information and our understanding of our researchers, individual researchers with the NRF, and they then rating our researchers on a scale. So Asima is very closely involved with that. Jennifer is involved with systems, information systems. Esmery assists Dalian and Felicia with the outputs. Whitney, you would have met with this email. Whitney helps us with DRD communication and a lot of other things. And then Fadwa and Leslie are responsible for the broader capacity development program, which this information session is part of. And then Leslie Swartz, who many of you will know, a senior professor, also assists us with our early career academic development program. And the two email addresses below that. The Research Contracts Office, Cornelia, I'm not sure if you can maybe also switch on. I can't see anything from my side, so please switch on if you can. Cornelia has a big group of people in the Research Contracts Office, never big enough because they have to deal with thousands of research contracts and research-related contracts every year. And this group is represent legal advisors. Mark Mulder, Wolof, Nasima, and Shaham are all legal advisors. Marilyn and Aslam and Kevin and Jason are all assisting with due diligences on the administrative handling contract side. And then Suzette, Landiwe, Audrey, and Chantal are all seconded from the finance division, our project accountants that assist us with budgeting and with post-award reporting and the management of budgets and the approval of full cost budgets. So you will see there also Cornelia's address and the general contracts at sun.ac.za address that you can use. Then the postdoctoral office, Palesa is heading up. Palesa, if you can switch on, please do so. Heading up the postdoc office. They've been extremely busy and undercapacitated in this past months, but we are working and we will continue to work on their capacity to deal with around 350 postdocs per annum, which you can imagine is an enormous undertaking for a small office like that. And that's one thing that I've now formally written into my own work agreement this year, is to look at the capacity in the postdoc office and increasing that. Isel and Leanne are assisting with international and with national postdocs. And then there are a number of other services that we provide for our postdocs, apart from the fellowship management and the payments and the registrations, like capacity development, skills development opportunities, the postdoctoral conference, etc. In the postgraduate office, we have Dorothy. Dorothy, if you can switch on, just to introduce yourself, I appreciate that. in Dorothy's office, of which the Postgraduate Funding Office, of course, forms part, but I've just put them separately as well to highlight them. So in Dorothy's group, we have Alison and Kristen, who works with the Postgraduate Skills Development Program, Cindy, Josephine, who works with applications and systems. Dorothy and her team also generally looks at processes and policies and systems related to postgraduate students. And Lauren, who provides a lot of support to the whole team. And then last, but certainly not least, Nugent, if you can switch on your camera, the Postgraduate Funding Office headed by Nugent Lewis, where they deal with everything related to postgraduate bursaries. So that is my incredible team of people to whom I'm incredibly grateful for everything they do. And I can assure you, they will always try to go the extra mile for our researchers. And when I say researchers, please understand that I mean academics and postdocs and postgraduate students. So that's what our organogram looks like. Just a quick overview of a few resources and tips particularly for people perhaps new to the university. You can find us, our website, the DRD website, you can find under www.sun.ac.za/research. And you will then see on this webpage, you will find information on funding, integrity and ethics, contracts, all the issues that I've really already highlighted that we are responsible for. There will always be some nice research stories there, which you can go and have a look at. But just to scroll down on the next slide, you will find buttons for meeting our team. So if you look for anybody that I've just shown in our organogram, you can go on there, have a look at what they look like and contact them regarding your needs. There's also a very important part of our website refers to the policies and guidelines that you have to adhere to. So you have to familiarize yourself with them. And then various other issues that we deal with. Just to highlight also that we are in the process of updating our website for 2022. So please don't be upset if you click on some of these buttons now and you still see some 2021 information. We will very soon have the latest on it available, on 2022 information available. In the meanwhile, please, if you have any questions, you've got our email addresses and you can always ask. Just a few tips, again, maybe particularly for new people or for people who haven't had that much exposure in the past to our division. Please register to receive our DRD communications. There's an email address that you can write to. It's a listserv, so we provide you with an opportunity to subscribe or to unsubscribe. It's a very broad range of information that you will receive, but please be assured that we sift that quite carefully. We do not send you information that just without scrutinizing it carefully first. We would definitely send you funding opportunities. We will definitely share some webinars, some interesting information sessions. The fact that you are here, I believe, maybe show that you're already on our DRD communications list. But if you're not, please make sure that you are registered there, because that is our main avenue of communicating with the campus community, and particularly because it's sad when people miss opportunities for funding and they miss deadlines because they didn't look at the emails that were sent out. So we'll always try to take a shotgun approach, especially when it's a very urgent, very valuable opportunity. We will often also send information to the dean's offices and ask them to send it out in their faculties, or sometimes to HODs and ask them to send it out within the academic departments. But you know that your deans and your HODs are also incredibly busy people. So we will always try to communicate directly to you via the DRD communications as well. Please always check with funding opportunities the internal deadlines that are set. Those are incredibly important for us to be able to provide you with the support and the information that you need to successfully submit your funding application, for example, to a funder. Because there's often some institutional inputs required, some institutional approvals, and we set our internal deadlines to make enough space, to create enough space for you to be able to get all of that information together. Also with budgets, you have to make sure that you include the right budget items in any funding application. So again, it's incredibly important that you speak to us when you start working on these applications. For access to our international funding database, we subscribe to a database called Open for Research. You will also find this on our website, where you can just click on the button and access Open for Research. There's a small registration process where you just have to go into the URL stated there. And if you have any problems, Lizelle Senecal, she also had a surname change in the meanwhile. Lizelle will be able to help you to access Open for Research, and she will be able to guide you through that process. Please, if you're new to the university, please go and have a look at the Stellenbosch University research-related policies. I'm giving you the URL there. You've also seen on the website that you can click a button and have access to all of those policies and guidelines. There is really no excuse for you to say to us, I didn't know there was an ethics policy, or I didn't know there was a plagiarism policy, or I didn't know that there was a conflict of interest policy. You have to familiarize yourself with those policies. And of course, we are there to guide and support you to be able to comply with the necessary policies and legislation to do things right the first time. Please do attend our information sessions and the skills development workshops, the ones that the program that Mareike was just referring to. We will load that onto our website, and we will send that out also via DRD Communications. I believe it has been sent out already through that channel, so that you can pick up on particular needs that you may have for information. Basically all of the areas that I've just mentioned, the ethics, the contracts, the funding, all of them have sessions for sharing much more detailed information that I can do today. And also there will be some opportunities for people for real skills development, generic skills development workshops. So please do have a look at that and attend it. If you're an early career academic, there are some criteria to that. It's generally people within 5 to 8 years post PhD, or still busy with a PhD. People that are generally still at the lecturer or senior lecturer, not at professorial level yet. There's a few criteria, but we can share that with you in detail. And for those academics, and here I'm speaking only about people appointed on the SU staff as academics, there would be an opportunity to participate in that program where you will be able to have a mentor. You will get some support for your career development, and you will also have the peer support of early career academics in the program as a group. I think I've already touched on this last point. Speak to us as early as possible when you start thinking about your research project and you have questions about research ethics or funding or discussions with potential funders, be it industry or other funders. Please speak to us as early as possible. We are here to help. If we don't have the answers, we most likely will know where to go and find those answers. So we will, from our side, really try our best to provide you with the answers, or to help you to find those answers as quickly as we can. And this is my last slide. We've got a wonderful publication that we bring out, Mareike's group, with the help of many other people, bring out every year. They are all on our website. The nice thing about them is you can go and flip through them, the electronic versions of them. So it's literally paging through the document as if you were sitting with the report in front of you. And these contain the stories of our research. In 2020, this was the last report. Of course, we always report on the previous year. So in 2021, we brought out this 2020 report on COVID-19 related projects at Stellenbosch University. And we always have a theme. So some of the earlier reports will have other themes. But go and have a look at those if you want to be inspired by research at Stellenbosch University. It's the most incredible document to page through and to see the research that's being done here, the difference it makes to people's lives, and looking at those stories, which is so much more than just academic publication, really inspires us as a division also to do our best to support you. Another thing I just want to highlight, lastly, is the knowledge directory. We try to get as complete as possible directory of knowledge and expertise at the university together. That's very valuable for any external stakeholders, be it media looking to talk to thought leaders in a specific field, or industry partners looking for research collaborators, postgraduate students looking for potential supervisors, or collaborators from other universities looking to establish a research collaboration with Stellenbosch. So the knowledge directory is available also on the main website of the university. You can click on it. We have populated it to a large extent based on what information that we have, for example, through the NRF ratings process. But it really is up to everybody to populate also your own profile and to put your own keywords in, because you will know best what you do and how to sell that to the external world. So please do go and have a look there. And contact us if you get stuck, or if your name is not there, or if you want us to help with populating that platform. It can be really, really useful for you to populate that, and maybe, who knows, you will be contacted by potential students or collaborators. Okay, I'm going to end it there. Let me just try to... We've got a few minutes left, not many, but we've got a few minutes left in which we can take questions or comments. I would also like to, Marijke, if any of you have any additional comments, any of the management group maybe want to add something that I missed. We didn't have a lot of time. We didn't spend a lot of time to speak about this presentation. But yeah, so we are here. I think if that's the main message you can take away from today, please, all our researchers, we are here. Our reason for existence is to serve you and to advance the research portfolio and the endeavour of the university. In the research management world, we often use the analogy of a sports team. That if you think of your Olympic team going to the Olympics, and how important it is for them to have a support team, a coach, a manager, a physiotherapist with them, in order for them to be able to focus on what they do best. And it's the same for researchers. We want our researchers to be able to focus as much as possible on what they do best, and that is your research. So we are here as a support team for you, very similar to what an Olympic sports team would need in terms of their support team. Ashraf, I see your question. What do we as researchers need to be doing to get the university to be the leading research university by 2040? What should we be doing differently? A loaded and very, very difficult question, as I'm sure you know. I think I can only give you my personal view on that. I think we need to focus on international visibility, publishing in international platforms as high quality as possible. Going really where we can also for international collaboration, because we know that is a catalyst for people to become known internationally. I know that's often more difficult for our younger researchers, which is why we support them to a very limited extent to, for example, enable them to attend a international conference with some, for example, a small amount of funding that we can give them in the ECAD program. From our side, we are so incredibly impressed with what our researchers already do, and we are also very, very aware of the pressure that our academics were under over the last 2 years with online teaching and teaching responsibilities. If I can give you my personal view, I think each researcher should have one or more postdocs that can assist you with your postgraduate supervision. I think postdocs, good postdocs, which should come from all over the world, has the capacity to really accelerate research and research outputs, and also play a role in quality outputs and in quality postgraduate supervision. And we are growing that. We are certainly growing that. So yeah, those are a few thoughts, but Ashraf, you've been a bit quick on me with that one. I will certainly think of it. I do believe that these larger collaborative initiatives where people really have the opportunity to work across faculty boundaries and truly work on interdisciplinary cross-faculty initiatives have the ability to support more people in their research. I always think that the worst place for any researcher to be is to be lonely, is to be without peers who can directly support you and with whom you can share thoughts, and particularly maybe thoughts from a different angle, which you often find when people collaborate between faculties and between disciplines. So I think that also building that truly interfaculty and interdisciplinary collaborations, I think, will also help us to reach our goal of really being a leading institution. We already know we can't dispute the fact that UCT, for example, is ahead of us in the international game. They're more visible, and that doesn't take anything away from us. We have expertise in many other different areas, but they publish internationally. They publish almost 90% of their publications internationally. Doesn't mean that they don't publish them in local contexts and local journals too, but they publish them in journals that appear on international lists. And I think that is an important consideration. Yeah, so these are just some thoughts immediately off the top of my head. Anything else? We are kind of drawing to a close. Any other comments or any other thought-provoking? Okay, I see some questions. Let me just quickly check again if I've missed anything. Yeah, the problem with postgraduate funding at this particular time in the year is that we have lost the opportunity to apply for 2022 funding in 2021. I mean, the deadlines for 2022 postgraduate bursaries, as Nugent will confirm to you, has all been in 2021. Postgraduate students really have to think ahead quite a bit. So my best advice is to now immediately start looking for opportunities for 2023 funding. It's not to say that there are none available. And again, Nugent will be the best person and his team will be the best people to advise in that regard. But it is a longer term undertaking to ensure that you have postgraduate funding for the next year. So we have to keep that in mind. Alison, thanks for Alison is a very valuable collaborator for us, also working with the Development and Alumni Office in Brussels. Think big, be bold, and be ambitious. So those are very, very good pieces of advice. There are often collaborators that are being contacted by big European consortia to participate in these big projects, but you have to be known to your international partners to be contacted. So if you go to international conferences, I always say that also to early career people, go and speak to the top person, get to know the top person in your field. Don't be shy. Yeah, I see the comment also, it's important to showcase translation of research into practice. That's very important. And I think that's why I like the Research at Stellenbosch stories so much, because you can really find the most incredible stories of research impact there in terms of people turning their research into practice, policies, new procedures, or just to feed into exciting new scholarly work that will take us closer to new products and practices and policies. Okay, Alison, thank you also for that. SU International Office website has a number of university partners and networks where people can find information on international partners and the potential visits to international universities, etc. Shall I stop there, Marijke? People know where to find us. Physically, we're sitting in the Kretua building on the second floor. looking out over Victoria Street side. The best way really to get hold of us now is to contact us via email. It's a bit difficult still, as I said in the beginning, for walk-in clients because of the COVID regulations, but we will always make time for you if you want to see us face to face, even if we have to go and sit in a coffee shop and have a coffee with you.
Thank you so much, Terina. From my side, I'm not going to try and share the slide that I had on the information sessions for the rest of the year. It's a bit of a challenge today with MS Teams on my side, but I will certainly share the slide with you via email after this session. We've also made a recording of this session, which we will also email you afterwards. And then just also to let you know that we've got a DRD booklet with all our functions and email and contact details. So we will send you that booklet as well afterwards. And then from my side as well, thank you very much for attending. As Serena has also said, it's very important for us to engage with our researchers, to really build up relationships with our researchers. We're all extremely passionate people, passionate about research and passionate about providing you with the best possible service we can so that you can do your jobs effectively. So thank you very much from my side as well. Thanks.
Yeah, and as everybody has experienced in the COVID period, we do feel a bit like we have to rebuild these links with our researchers where we haven't seen people in physically, and we're really keen to start rebuilding where people might have thought that they lost contact with us a bit over the past 2 years. So keep well, everybody, and thank you very, very much.